Hello again, everyone. Um, I'd like to talk about racism in Japan today because there's a lot of myths and lies being told about the situation in this country. So I'd like to put a little different perspective into this conversation. Yes, Japan is a very closed country. Some old people still hold a lot of misconceptions due to the times they grew up, but that's not what everyone is like, especially young people. Now, I know what everyone who sees this will say. Well, I heard Japan is really racist to foreigners. That's not necessarily true, and I'll explain why. In my time here, now over 11 years, I think I've run into maybe two or three instances of like real racism, but I've never been called anything in particular. However, I encountered much more racism when I was back in the United States and I was in middle school where I was technically a minority at the school I was attending, and I was called everything from cracker, honky, blah blah blah. At the time, I never really thought it any more than just typical bullying, and it was something I was used to, so it wasn't a big deal. Um, so it wasn't really like anything I realized was actually racism until I got much older. Now, don't take this as whining because it's not. It actually gave me a lot thicker skin to stupid things like name calling or whatever, but I digress. My point is that these rare situations, at least in my case, haven't really negatively affected me in any way. Some people have thin skin and can't handle some minor bumps in the road. Now, back to the more general topic. Racism in Japan is a very complicated issue, as Japanese people are pretty much in their own little society. The problems with racism have mostly been directed at Koreans, specifically a group of Koreans called Zainichi, loosely translated as residents of Japan. This word specifically targets Koreans who have been here generations at this point, born and raised in Japan. Their families immigrated here during the pre-war and wartime period, but Japanese society as a whole doesn't accept them as Japanese. There have been massive racist demonstrations in areas where Zainichi live, mostly in places like eastern Osaka, which is well known for its large Korean Zainichi population. Because of these early 1900s KKK demonstrations in predominantly Korean neighborhoods in places like eastern Osaka, the government enacted hate speech laws, which really I haven't been able to tell if they've had any effect or not as of yet, but I haven't been paying that close attention to statistics on this issue. Another group that gets a lot of shit are mixed race people. The worst victims of such abuse are mixed Japanese black, as they are dark skinned, and we all know where that leads. However, a recent story in the news, link in the description, is in Japanese though, regarding Onoda Kimi, a mixed member, American Japanese, of the parliament. Her father is American, her mother was Japanese, has criticized Renho, the now former leader of Minshinto, which is one of the political parties here, used to be known as the Democratic Party of Japan, because of dual citizenship. Renho is mixed Taiwanese-Japanese and held dual citizenship for decades until it was used as a discriminatory weapon against her in order to discredit her and her political party. However, idiots in her own party have also gone after her. Dual citizenship in Japan is technically illegal, which is why many Americans who decide to naturalize as Japanese citizens have to renounce their U.S. citizenship. Renho found a way to keep both, become a member of the Japanese parliament, and was a rising star before the old Democratic Party of Japan got decimated by the Liberal Democrats after the 2011 disaster. Anyway, this has been a massive scandal in recent days, and I find it incredibly hypocritical of Onoda to criticize Renho considering she is mixed as well. Another point that I want to bring up in terms of, I guess, it's kind of positive stereotyping or racism are what many people call hafu in Japanese, which are mixed race people. There are many of these mixed race, especially females, as actresses or models or something because bigger eyes are more beautiful in Japan because it gives that kind of, mystique of being foreign. And it's created a major problem in the sense that now many people expect Hafu to be these like beautiful people when sometimes they're actually quite ugly. Again, I digress. Now, this all sounds dark and fucked, but to be honest, in a normal person's daily life here, you never really run across racism. Even in the times that I thought something might be up, it was typically just some old fart staring at me on the train. It was nothing like big, it wasn't really a big deal or anything. I've never been through what some people may have been through, and this isn't to discredit their experiences either. I just wanted to point out that it's not true that Japan is some sort of racist paradise full of non-Japanese hating people. This country is actually very nice, and I made the choice to live here a long time ago for a reason. This country is far more beautiful, friendly, and incredible to live compared to where I came from.